Yo, what is going on, guys? Tough here, and today I'm going to be showing you some of the basic A-site positions you can play from CT side on Mirage. And sort of the basic strat that you want to be doing on this is setting up crossfires and effectively trading with your teammate. So just in general, some basic knowledge about A-site. There's three main positions where the T's can come from. You have obviously like A main or A ramp, whatever you want to call that. You have connector, and then you have palace. All pretty common positions. If you're playing a 2-1-2 setup, which is the one I'm going to be kind of covering right now, assuming you have only two players playing A, one mid, and then two on B, you're not going to have to worry so much about connector because you'll probably have one player watching mid either from this position or from sniper's nest. So as long as you maintain mid control, you won't have to worry about connector as much. So I'm going to sort of I'll be leaving that out, and I'll be talking about mid control and B control in another video, so look forward to that in the future. But right now we're just going to talk about A site. We're going to talk mostly about A ramp or A slope and palace. So sort of some common positions you can play for CT that effectively set up crossfires where you can trade for your teammates or just bait them out and get awesome spray downs, or just effectively slow down a push, or maintain control of a site long enough for your teammates to rotate. This, we'll call it triple stack. You can play behind this. This is a pretty common position. You can obviously peek to the right or to the left, doesn't matter whichever way. You can look mainly at a ramp, but you can also, if you peek here, you can watch for the palace push as well. So pretty like effective position, I guess you could say. You can peek from either side. You can also hold both of the main entrances. You can hold palace and a ramp. And if you get yourself in a bad situation, or if your teammate goes down and you want to just fall back and play the retake, you can easily slip back into CT spawn and just sort of wait for your teammates to show up and help you. Also from this position, if you want to pop flash yourself out on a site, if they have already pushed and you've lost control of site and you want to help or start taking it back, you can throw a flash that lands deep into A site right here, blinding most of the players pushing out and on stairs or in jungle, or not jungle, sorry, sandwich. It won't hit anyone playing under palace or in palace, so you can adjust for that though. If you know they're playing over there, that's actually a really bad flash, my bad. If you know they're playing over there, you can sort of adjust your angle. This wall is curved, which is sort of weird, but it affects the angle that you can throw your flashes at. So you can throw a flash deep onto site if you want it to pop for the people in palace or under palace, or you can throw it more sort of on the right half of this wall for players playing on site, or if you've lost control of A main, and this is sort of a really good flash for anyone on like the left half of site or the right half of site, you can throw the one further left on this wall. So that's a good pop flash. You can get yourself out of there. If you wanted to fall back to CT, that's a great way you can do it. If you just get stuck or have to reload or something, pop flash yourself back into CT, and obviously you can live to play the retake with your team if you lose control of site. So that's the first sort of common position that a lot of people will play on A site. Another one will be if you have an opper, you can have someone from CT spawn just stay right here watching ramp and make sure no one pushes up. They can try and hit some shots there on any players crossing over to stairs, and from behind this position they can also play anyone, or just play palace really, watch the push out of there and easily pick someone off playing from that position. Another thing you can do is if you've lost mid control, you can jump up on top of this thing called ticket booth right here, and you can play a pretty advantageous position right here. You can crouch and just watch connector. If you throw smoke under this, it also helps a lot. You're pretty hard to see. I think you can also throw smoke if you throw it like inside this and then jump up. It makes it even harder to see because the smoke is right around your feet. So you can try that, and it's a pretty effective, like not really a one-way smoke, but you can sort of just hide in it. It makes your view model a little bit more difficult to spot, and you can play this position right here or up on top of the thing, or just watch any position really. So that's a pretty effective spot. And also with the op, if you want to take like one or two shots, maybe get a pick or two, if you miss anything you can just fall back and play the retake with your team. So it's a pretty effective spot. You can peek multiple angles, you can hold both the entrances including connector actually, so you get like sort of a three possible positions that you can watch from that, and you can also fall back pretty easily. So that's another pretty common spot. Which brings us to stairs, which is another pretty like expected place for a CT to be. So this is also a difficult spot to play because a lot of times any players from the T side that are pushing out of palace will often pre-fire this. if you aren't already smoked out, which I'll talk about sort of a little bit at the end of the video, which is pretty common and hard to counter if you don't know much about it. But that's the A site smoke strat, which, like I said, I'll talk about that in a minute. But a lot of times players on stairs will get pre-fired. People will just swing out and peek this, or they're like just crouch peek it with an op. It's sort of a common spot. I mean, you really got to be careful and just sort of time your peek well, because a lot of players, like I said, will pre-fire this. So you gotta be careful. But if you have someone like in jungle or snipers watching your palace, well, not snipers nest, but you know what I mean. So if you have a teammate watching your palace, then you won't have a problem sort of staying on this. And you can also swing out and peek A ramp. So again, from this spot you can watch both positions, and also if you get stuck, you can pop flash yourself out by just throwing that flash up over site. Great for retakes, by the way, because it pops right over the top. Anyone planting or in the middle of the site will be caught out. Anyone playing under palace or like sort of playing from CT will get caught. So if you're playing a retake, or if you just want to get yourself another peek, say you want to peek stairs again, you can peek that. Obviously don't turn too early because you'll be blind, but it pretty much grants you another free peek without getting shot. And like I said, depending on the angle, it'll bounce off the stairs, and you can even pop people in sandwich and on A ramp. So a pretty useful pop flash if you're stuck on stairs and don't really have a chance to get out. You can do that. Another way that you can watch palace that actually not a lot of people know about is from right up on top of this box. This is a less common position, so you probably won't get pre-fired from here. But especially if you have an op, which is much more effective than using a rifle, because right here you can pretty much only see their heads as they peek. But with an op, you can sort of really lock down that angle right there, and it'll be pretty effective and pretty easy to spot them. Let me just show you that real quick. If you stand on top of that box, it's actually really easy to see any players pushing out of palace. So you can just get that pick. It'll be pretty easy. They won't see you, they won't expect you to be there, and you'll be behind stairs, which is pretty hidden. And it's a really effective angle to play. And also, if your team has lost control of mid, you can easily fall back from up here. If you're watching palace, you can easily fall back and help retake mid control. Or if your teammate in sniper's nest hears anyone coming from underpass, or if they lose control of top mid, you can easily come off that spot and start helping them retake control of mid. So another pretty good spot where you can watch multiple entrances without being connector in palace. Which brings us to our fourth spot, I think, which is sandwich. A difficult spot to play because it's pretty isolated. There's nowhere you can really fall back on. It's one of those spots where you sort of commit to it 100%, or you shouldn't play there, because like you're pretty much peeking palace, and any player that's coming out of ramp is going to jump up on here, and they're going to check this spot. That's a given. Any decent player with any amount of game sense is going to drop at least one player here and make sure it's clear before they push onto site. So pretty much it's one and done. You can either peek palace and sort of just hope that your teammate calls it right, and if you actually time it correctly, a lot of players that push out of palace will drop down over the edge and peek under palace to make sure no one's playing there. So if you hear someone saying like they dropped out of palace, they dropped out of palace, you can sometimes catch them on the drop and turning, and pretty much you can kill them with their backs to you, which sets you up for an easy shot. You can also pop flash a teammate over the stairs right here, which lands and bounces off and flashes anyone on stairs or pushing out of A ramp. So you can either stand here, throw that flash for yourself, either peek with a flash, or if you have a teammate playing like Tribox or something, you can have them peek with it, or you can both peek. A double peek here is pretty effective. If you have someone playing under palace and you throw that flash and you both peek, you have a great crossfire. Like I said, A site's all about crossfire, so just, you know, a good partner position for this would be like Tribox. You can both peek there, you can both peek palace, you know, all sorts of good stuff. Just set up crossfires and establish like 2-on-1s, or like just any T player. Let's just like break it down really quick. Any T player who's standing here sort of watching, if I was to play a T side push onto A, the first angle that you clear is obviously close, but as you come up, a lot of T's will just watch this angle right here. So if you catch them on the push up to stairs and they're just watching this, making sure no one's playing like Firebox or under palace, because there's a lot of T players are scared of this spot right here, and they'll come up sort of pre-aimed at this, and they won't even like really check this until later. They'll sort of come up, make sure no one's there, and then just snap right to the spot and then go back or whatever. So if you time your flashes right, or if you double peek, the T player standing right here is going to be watching this. All of a sudden they're going to have to flick to you and all of a sudden decide if they want to shoot you or shoot your teammate. So you have really a huge advantage if you can set that up correctly and make sure you flash for each other and communicate well. So that's another thing you can do that's really effective. Let's see, where do we want to go next? How about under Palace? This is another pretty common spot, yet super effective if you can use the nades that you have correctly. This is actually a pretty common spot. It's one I like to play a lot, actually. So what I'll do at the beginning of rounds is I'll come under Palace here with a smoke grenade, and I'll just aim at the middle of this brown box right here, and sort of at this little brown speck. Doesn't really matter, it doesn't have to be perfect, just anywhere on this, sort of in the middle really. You can throw a smoke there, and it will land in Palace and smoke it off. So I'll smoke that off so that my teammates don't have to worry as much about it, or so that they don't try and push through it and, you know, obviously catch me while I'm like with a nade in my hand or something. But so yeah, I'll go to this corner, throw that smoke, and then from this corner I'll just wait with a flash in my hand, and I'll wait for my teammate to either call that he sees them pushing out of a ramp, or if I hear them pushing on the stairs, I'll throw this flash right here, wait for it to pop, and then peek out, and anyone on stairs will be blind. You can also push out at a ramp, and anyone there will be blind. And that flash pops right over the top there, so anyone watching this is going to be completely white screened. And you can also throw it just normally, or you can throw it with like a little bit of a run, and it will land deeper and pop further out. If you throw it with the run, it'll flash players all the way back here at a ramp, as you can see right here, and then the second one will just pop right there and flash anyone on stairs. So depending on where they are, I usually like to throw both. If you want to do a double flash, you can smoke or flash close first and then flash deep after. You just gotta make sure you don't run too far forward. Just one step is usually good, and it'll pop really deep. So you can throw both and then have a teammate peek on the first one and then fall back if he hears if there's another one there, or if he calls out there's more players. You can throw the running one and peek super deep, and you can really just use that to your advantage. Obviously playing under Palace is pretty hard. You don't really want to play up here as much. This is a spot that's, you know, sometimes good, but it's another one of those sort of one and done positions, because a lot of T side players will peek this. This box also is extremely wall bangable. AK-47 bullets do 100% damage almost through this. So you can spot the players up on stairs, but you move really slow on this. You get stuck on this all the time. And if you're getting tagged through the box, the tagging is going to make it so you can't even really move. And if any T player sprays through this box at you, you're pretty much dead. So that's another position you can play, but I don't really recommend it because it's just super disadvantageous. There's nowhere you can really go. If you're playing under Palace and you re-peek this, you can play pretty much from right here. You can fall back, you can play here, and then you can fall under Palace. You can throw the flash, wait for it to pop, and then you can re-peek again. Like there's just so many ways you can play from like sort of right here under Palace, watching the push from Palace. You can sort of come up the ladder and just peek that really quick. You can go up the ladder and watch the push out of Palace. You can watch the push from stairs right here. There's playing on and around this is something that you're going to get the hang of if you play it enough, and you'll sort of learn the individual tactics that go along with that. I could probably make a whole video just on how to play on and around like under and on Palace, like plateau, whatever you want to call that, boardwalk, anything. So that's one common position you can play. Really just experiment with all the different positions you can play up on here. You can play like this spot, which is common. You can watch the push from Palace. You can fall to this corner, watch stairs. You can fall back down under really quick and peek from stairs again. Just so much stuff you can do from that position right there. So I'm not going to go into too much more depth on that, but just know this is a very, very awesome spot. You can do a lot of cool stuff with that, especially if you have a teammate who can flash for you in different spots. Another pretty common thing is on the beginning of the rounds, a CT will probably smoke this spot right here. So sometimes CTs will like to push up here. I recommend doing this on like eco rounds where you have either like a mag 7 or a pistol, which is like close range headshot, obviously, which is what you're going to be going for. So if you play close right here, this is a pretty common position. It's going to get pre-fired a lot, but if the T's don't check this, you're going to be highly rewarded with some nice frags, especially if you smoke it further up like this, so you're sort of in the smoke still. The T's that push up onto stairs won't see you, and you can just peek out and easily spray down one or two of them. Also, if you want, you can pop flash yourself into A main or onto T ramp and spray down right there. This will completely blind any players pushing up from like T spawn, and they won't see it obviously if there's a smoke down with it. So you can partner those two things. You can just throw the flash like that, wait for it to pop, and then obviously you can come out and spray and just absolutely demolish any players through the smoke there. So those are sort of the main positions that you can play. One more that I kind of like that's somewhat situational but can be super effective if you use it correctly is right up here on top of this box. Obviously these pipes can protect you from A main, and you can crouch here, sort of set up in a perfect head glitch spot, and just watch the push out of Palace. Also, this is called default, this position right here. This is where most of the time T players are going to plant the bomb, because they'll be pushing out of sight. This is the first area that they'll take control of, so they're going to want to put the bomb down as soon as possible. They'll plant it right here at the edge of the site, and so any players that don't check this spot and just push right through on the site, you can stand right here and just spray them down as they come and try and plant the bomb. You can also peek this from the side and take control of stairs. This is sort of another perfect head glitch spot where you can see them, but they can't see much of you, just your head. You can peek from the side and spray down A main there. You can also get up on top of this and jump into Palace really quick if you need to, you know, take control of Palace, or if you're getting overwhelmed on site, there's smoke starting to go down and you want to push into a safe position. You can do that as well. Another thing that's pretty cool from this spot is ninja diffusing. A lot of players will try and go for ninja diffuses from right here, but this is a pretty common spot, and a lot of people will pre-fire this, or at least check it. And when you throw your smoke right here, as soon as the smoke goes down, people know you're going for a ninja, and you're going to get sprayed through the smoke pretty often. A lot of the good players, at least, that have like some game sense, will know that if the bomb's planted on A site and the smoke's going down just out of random, you're probably going to get pre-fired. You're going to get shot through the smoke, and they're going to know you're going for a ninja. So that can't be the best option at times. However, if you jump up here, you can throw a smoke that actually lands on site. Just throw it in between the wood and the pipes, and you are completely sealed off. They cannot see you from the top or bottom. Obviously, if you jump, they can see you, but if you just stay crouched, they won't be able to see you through the smoke. And if the bomb is down on there, they're not going to be able to see you, and you can just wait a couple seconds. They're going to spray through the smoke, obviously. When it's a full bloom smoke, obviously they won't be able to see as much of the site, but we'll be spraying through the smoke, desperately trying to figure out how the bomb's being diffused. But if you just actually wait a couple seconds after the smoke, and then for like to either reload or run out of bullets, you can just jump down, throw your flash, and start diffusing the bomb. And yeah, it's a pretty effective way you can ninja and not get like sprayed through the smoke and shut down pretty early. So like I said, this can also be used as a quick route into Palace at the beginning of a round, or whatever really. So other than those default positions that you can play on gun rounds, like I said, you can do specials tactics on eco rounds. I usually like to have someone either pushed up here with like a mag 7 or upgraded pistol. From T spawn or from CT spawn, if you want to run and take control of Palace really early, you can jump on top of this and then jump up on here and then run and get into Palace really quick, versus trying to run through under Palace and up the ladder into here. Also, you can just flash here. I usually like to nade stack it, have a teammate buy a nade, and just both of you throw it, and then push onto like a ramp and take control of T-spawn. Just shut down the early push, get information as much as possible, because if you don't really have the guns or the equipment or the utility to sort of delay the push and set up trade frags or allow yourself to re-peek by like pop flashing and stuff, then you're not really going to be able to effectively hold the site. So you're better off to go for like a push, or try and get as much information about where they're playing as you can, and if it's actually going to be an A hit or not. So those are some basic things that you can do on a site to sort of set yourself up for success. And like I said, just keep in mind where you're playing and where your teammate's playing. You want to be playing any combination of these spots, but just make sure that you're in a position where you can both peek at the same time for the same place, and either double peek a spot, set up a crossfire, or trade frag. And also keep in mind where your teammate's playing, so that when you're flashing all this stuff, you don't end up blinding them as well. So those are sort of the main tips and tricks that I can give you guys for playing the site. Obviously, I'll be doing some more stuff on this, sort of a companion video for mid and B site as well. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful at all, if you learned some new spots that you're going to play in MM or during a scrim or on your team or whatever. And hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.